Looks like 4 minutes, Miss Jen.
Okay. And I'm looking, I think the only thing people are seeing right now is my icon. So that's a little troublesome. I do not know how to help them see me. Oh, because my camera was turned off.
Looks like 4 minutes, Miss Jen.
Okay. And I'm looking, I think the only thing people are seeing right now is my camera was turned off.
Looks like 4 minutes.
Amy, are you getting any messages or anything from anyone? Any notifications that people are trying to join?
I just logged into Google Plus and was looking. I don't have anything yet. But I was clicked on the join hangout to see what would happen, and it rang. It didn't let me in.
Okay, it tells me that Mickey Fettridge from Springdale, Arkansas is watching, as is Stephanie Leverage. So how come we're not seeing them in the hangout?
Into Google Plus and was looking. I don't have anything yet. Okay. Where did you see that people were? In the control panel?
No, on the event.
Okay.
Maybe it's just the ones that have responded saying they're going to watch.
Maybe.
Hmm. Okay, it says the next meeting is starting now. I'm not seeing anyone else in it. I don't know if they're having trouble getting in. Well, I guess we will continue to give them a few minutes And hopefully they'll get connected soon.
Do we have any staff members? Maybe we can try to get them to come in and see.
Um, I'm not sure. I thought Terry had commented. Oh, is that Skype? Okay.
Hi, are you guys there now?
Yes, we're here. How did you get in?
I went to the link that Amy sent, but if you go to the link that is posted um, on the eMents Educators
Uh-huh.
community,
Uh-huh.
um, it goes, I guess, to a
In here, and was there anybody else besides Stephanie? I know Mickey Federich was also wanting to join, so I will send him a message.
well, and she may be on that other link because I don't think this is the same one.
Yeah, and I don't understand why. It's been a little kooky, so let me try and
Yeah,
message.
when I click on that, it says you are the first one here, and that's where I was earlier, where it says join Hangout. I
Uh-huh.
went there, and that's where Stephanie
Oh,
and I were in there together talking.
okay.
So I don't know. Oh, but it looks like
All right.
Stephanie's coming on there.
I
Yay.
got it. I'm excited.
Yay. Sorry, we're still just trying to get all of this kind of figured out, so I'm glad that we were able to get you in here. Now I need to message Mickey. I know he posted that he was going to come in and let's see. Let's see. It is improving direct message.
I was talking, forgot I was muted. Is it okay if I go ahead and just post this link in
Yes,
the English Educators and say, please come and join us?
yes, please do.
Okay, I'll do that.
Okay. Yeah, I'm hoping that we can get.
Do we know if the unknowns are us trying to get in?
I'm sorry.
Well, I didn't know
I
we've got.
noticed there's an unknown at the bottom, yeah.
Oh. Okay, it says Mickey isn't in Hangouts right now. I know that he just said that he was going, maybe he exited out to try and get back in. Yeah, we've got that are in the Hangout. If you don't care to maybe either in the chat include your name or to go ahead and use your mic, or just speak so that we can see who you are.
And introduce yourself.
All right. Well, are we ready to go ahead and get started? And hopefully we'll have some additional attendees drop in here in the next few minutes.
Works for me.
Okay. Well, welcome to Plus Sizing Your PLN, where we're going to discuss growing our learning networks, not our waistline. And there is a link over in the chat to get to where you can view the chat window. If you click on the left side of the screen towards the top, there is a blue chat window like pop-up box. Whenever you select that, the chat window should appear over on the right side of your screen. Is everybody able to see that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is there someone that's having some trouble? I can hear some voices in the background. I'm just not sure if maybe the mic is turned up well. Mickey has joined the call. Hi, Mickey.
Hello.
Yay. Welcome. We're just kind of getting started as we're working on getting some of the kinks worked out. So we're on the presentation, which is linked in the group chat. If you need to be able to view the group chat, over on the left side of the screen, there is a blue pop-up box for the chat. Whenever you select that, the group chat should come up over on the right side of the screen, allowing you to link to the presentation that we're going to be viewing today. So the second slide that we have there on the presentation is just our basic introduction, who we are. And Amy, if you'd like to go first.
Well, hello, I'm Amy Blades, EMINS instructional specialist and former classroom teacher. I'm truly excited to also join the realm of authorized Google education trainers as well, and just excited that everyone could join us today.
And I am Jen Foster, and like Amy, I am also an EMINS instructional specialist and a newbie authorized Google education trainer. So I am excited to also be conducting my first ever webinar where I am sort of kind of heading this with Amy as our co-leader here, and my first ever webinar and my first ever Google Hangout on air. So that's kind of exciting, some first for me today. So if you would like to, everyone, if you could please at least say hello over in the group chat window. That way we know that you are able to access that feature and that you can hear us okay. All right. I've heard from Mickey and Amy and Terry. Thank you very much for joining. I hope that that you'll enjoy this and you'll continue to enjoy additional webinars that we're going to host in the future. All right. So the third slide there in our presentation, how would you define PLN? When you look at that slide, we've got a word cloud that has got some of the key terms that you might think of when you're thinking or when you're considering information about PLN. So in the chat window, just kind of share some of your thoughts that you have on what is a PLN. How would you define PLN? I see that we have Nancy Toombs. Welcome, Nancy. We're glad that you're here. We're getting started. Over on the left side of the screen, you can join the group chat. I see that you've made it in there. In that group chat, one of the first links there should link you to the presentation that we're using for today. Let us know if you need help seeing that.
That's right.
And
Everything's happening right now.
right now we are on the third slide where we're learning, oh, we did not see the presentation. Okay. Let me reshare the presentation link. Sorry about that. Okay, Amy's got the link there so that you can access the presentation outside of this Hangout window if you're not able to see it in the window. We're trying to refresh the actual Hangout so that hopefully you can see that. Okay, so we are now on the third slide of that presentation so that you can view the word cloud of PLN. In the chat window, if you wouldn't care, to share a definition or your thoughts on PLN. What are some key characteristics that come to mind? Okay, the question again, what are your thoughts on PLN? What is a PLN? What might be some characteristics of a PLN that come to mind? Okay, I see that Mickey's saying learning on his time. He has control of the structure, the when and where he gets to learn. So excellent. Thank you, Mickey. Terry says, your own group of resources that meet your specific needs. I like that. Yes. Okay. Any additional thoughts you would like to share about what a PLN means to you? Okay. Amy says, real professional interaction. All right. Excellent. Thank you guys for sharing your thoughts on a professional learning network. That is what we're going to be talking about today is your professional learning network, the reasons some of the reasons for participating, and ideas, tips, and tricks for continued growth and participation in your professional learning network, and making it something that's rich and meaningful for you. All right, we're going to move on now to the fourth slide in the presentation, and I'll let Amy take that.
So what we're going to kind of be thinking about is how do we really get to the heart of growing this personal learning network, or our PLN? And I think of it a lot like a garden, is that we can really grow and thrive when we have it, our personal learning network centered around things that we're interested in. So we're going to kind of start by looking at what our garden of interests are among our participants. In the chat window or from the presentation, wherever you're at, I've put in our Answer Garden link. And the question that it prompts us is what topics are you interested in? Just to kind of get a feel of what our interests are, you know, for those of you who are participating in our Hangout, and what your personal learning network centers around. So we'll watch our garden grow. So as our garden is growing, we're seeing that some of us are interested in one-to-one initiatives. That one's big and bold in our garden. Tech integration, ed tech, student interactions, Google Apps for education. So we can see that some of us are some of the same interests. As you can see, they're underlined if they're used more than once. So thinking about those, the interests, the things that we're interested in as being the heart of our learning, when we think about growing or continuing to further develop that personal learning network, ultimately it comes down to what you're passionate about, what your learning goals are, and in general, what are the needs of your students. So that to me is what the heart of a personal learning network is those, a compilation of those things. Okay. So I think we're ready for Jen. She's going to be talking about networking.
Okay, so networking. Networking and collaboration really are the key to growing your personal learning network. And this is something that as educators we do, but we don't necessarily always think of it as networking. When we go to those meetings where we're collaborating with like teachers within our districts, whenever we're working within our committees, whenever we're doing all those little things, we are networking with the teachers, with friends, with colleagues that are close to us. Um, One thing, though, that's really fantastic about your personal learning network is that that allows you to network with others that normally you wouldn't be able to connect with because you wouldn't meet with them face to face in any capacity. I know many years ago I was always excited to get to go to conferences and workshops because of from the people that I follow or the organizations that I was a member of so that I could continue those building that network. But I was oftentimes only getting to speak with that one teacher once a year whenever we were at the conference. And now with social media, it's so much easier to network. And it really came to um, came to my mind yesterday. I was in the middle of a training session, and I was talking to my teachers about the Emens educators community and how they could become more active and they can join in the conversations through the community. And as I was showing them how to include all of this, we were developing a circle where all of the members of that cohort were in the same circle. And I got a request from someone that a notification that someone had added me to their circle, and it popped up on the screen live in front of the participants. And one of them said, "Oh, do you know that person?" And I thought maybe they knew this person, and I said, "No, I don't. Do you know who this is?" And they said, "No, but how come it popped that person up?" And then I said, "Well, we've got 10 other community or 10 other people in our circles that we have in common." I said, "So this gentleman and I have 10 people that share the same interest as us. So there's a really good chance that he and I also have common interests and passions in education. And it would most likely, it would be a benefit to both of us to make that connection, to join together, to share ideas, and to continue building our network and expand where we can get our ideas from." And in this session were really excited to see that they could see the people that I was following and I had been making connections with, so that they had kind of a base of, of people, and they could kind of see how to start building that, starting off small and slowly growing that. So the networking was really good. It was a really good timing for that, to have that conversation yesterday and to see that, for them to see that it is growing beyond just the people that are in your own building or in your own part of the state. It's building it globally, and it's going to be involving people that you're not even connected with. That's very, very neat. Um, and in fact, like here today, I know Mickey is from Springdale, Arkansas, and although him and I have never met, and we've actually never even spoken directly to one another, he's very active in the Emens educator community, and so I see a lot of the things that he does, which are absolutely fantastic. So even though I don't personally know Mickey, I feel like we've made several connections already just in interactions through the Google Plus community. Um, so just from your guys' point of view, what kinds of networking things have you done and connections have you made? If you want to share that in the chat window of any, or if anybody has a story that they would like to share about networking and collaborating with others, we would love to hear it. Okay. So let's move on then to the big picture. And Amy?
So as we're thinking about the big picture, as I've got so many things going on in my social networking and or my social media atmosphere that when I do get the time, I really have to think about what am I really wanting out of my personal learning network, and that's why I kind of chose this image of being focused. Um, to focus in on your and truly get the most out of your growth is having those clearly identified both personal and professional learning goals, and whether you've written them down or you just kind of try to stay mindful of them or remind yourself in some way or shape or form, having those goals always at the forefront of what you're looking for or what you're searching out. Another thing is, again, if you're going to truly grow that personal learning network, you've got to be passionate about what you're searching. When we get on Twitter or Facebook, we're constantly sharing things that we're passionate about or scanning for things that we're passionate about because we only have a small amount of time, to utilize that resource, and having that focus really helps you to get the most out of it. I think you also have to look for ways to connect both locally, having those purposeful interactions with your colleagues and reaching out and sharing with them, like using Pinterest and Google Plus and Ed Chats and those types of things, having those interactions both globally and locally. I went to Ed Camp just a couple weekends ago, and a friend of mine had never been before, and she said, I didn't really get that much from the presentation, but wow, this person I sat next to started talking and sharing, and I got her email address, and I'm really excited to get to kind of learn more from her. And I think that's a huge part of that focus is when we're at conferences and when we're moving around in our buildings and when we're on our social media or our personal learning sites, exchanging those email addresses, introducing yourself to new people as they start to follow you, and just kind of continuing to interact in order to truly grow that PLN. I think if I was going to put it into a mathematical equation, I think the true way to get that supersizing, that plus sizing of the PLN is to have reflection, have people that you talk to being your personal learning network, and then having that all centered around your goals. So it would be personal learning network plus self or professional reflection tied in with your goals. And I think, pairing it with reflection really also keeps that focus moving ahead too. And as we reflect, we know what we're looking for as we reflect either in our classroom or what we're doing. So lots of great resources out there, and hopefully you'll get some great ideas from us here today as well.
Lucky dog. All right, great, thanks.
Okay. So for growing your PLN, which is the 7th slide in our presentation, we'd like to know what kind of tools you use, and I see several of you have already been adding to that. We've had Edmodo, Twitter, Pinterest, Google Plus. What other tools have you been using to build your PLN and to make those connections? If you, we've got a Padlet there, and let me link it here in the chat. It is also linked to the presentation. So if you don't care to go into the Padlet, and you can include any additional tools that maybe we didn't present. And the Padlet template includes what you know and what you want to know. And Amy, you had more to say about this Padlet template.
So while I was on, I follow so many people on Twitter and Facebook and all that kind of stuff, but this particular template came about from Lisa Davis. She's the Tech Chef for You guru. She does lots of stuff with iPad stuff and just lots of neat web tools that she shares. She had recently joined Teachers Pay Teachers, and she created these Padlet templates specifically for Padlet, so that teachers could kind of start organizing their brainstorming in their class, kind of setting them up like a graphic organizer. And so these are completely free templates that you use. So as you're thinking about tools that you use, go ahead and just double click, and what tools do you already know? To add a sticky note, just double click, sorry, and maybe tell us what you want to know. Are there any tools out there that you would like to know?
Okay. I also saw someone put MOED chat and SAT chat. All right. I see Mickey and Stephanie both in the Padlet. Fantastic. All right. Okay. Excellent. I'm seeing people on Twitter. We've got several different things mentioned. We've got some on the Padlet. We've got corkboard as an option to Padlet, YouTube as what they already know. We've got Live Classroom 2.0. Let's see, what else have we got over? Okay. So it looks like we've got a lot of different things that people are already using. So that's fantastic. All right, as we move on to slide 8, we've got a few web tools that we're going to actually talk about briefly. We're going to talk about TweetDeck first, and I'm going to try and do a screen share, so hopefully you guys will soon see what I have on my screen. And I am going to show I've got TweetDeck as an app that I use in Chrome, but it is also it's not showing all of them. There we go. So TweetDeck, it has this Twitter-like icon. It automatically logs me in, and it is really nice for people who use Twitter frequently. I haven't as of late been as big on Twitter as I have been in the past, but prior to really jumping onto the Google Plus bandwagon, I spent a lot of time in Twitter, and hopefully it will pull up this screen. But one thing that I really liked about TweetDeck is that it allows you to have multiple Twitter accounts logged in at the same time. You can follow specific hashtags or specific people, and it sets it up in columns. So if I want to keep an eye on the hashtag Eamon, so that I can see things that are going on, or the Eamons National Conference, when we have that in the wintertime, I can pull up a separate column that will show any of the hashtags that, or show any of the tweets that are going out with our conference hashtag, so I can keep up with all of the conversations. I can keep up with my personal Twitter feed, the Eamons National Center Twitter feed. I can also keep up with any direct messages or anything like that that are coming through. And unfortunately, it looks like TweetDeck's not even going to load for us to look at. I wonder if... I'll try and pull it up. Oh, I'm thinking my internet connection... Oh, there it goes. It may not be fast enough for me to pull the whole thing open, but maybe you can see on this image here. I'll try and zoom in on it. You can set up all of these columns, and you've got the home feed, the different conversations you can follow, a conversation on Twitter. You can follow anything, a specific person. You can search through all of your Twitter feeds for specific terms or tweets, anything with links. You can find things organized by a user. There's lots of different ways that you can search and find the information that you're looking for via Twitter. So TweetDeck is actually a really nice tool that I like and that I enjoy using. So I'm going to pass this. I'm going to stop screen sharing, and hopefully then it will allow Amy to do some screen sharing so she can tell you a little bit more about Feedly.
All right. So I'm going to start screen sharing here. Hopefully it will allow. Okay, it says I'm screen sharing, so everybody see me okay? My screen that I am sharing with you is Feedly. It is a really neat tool. It allows you to kind of lurk, if you will, if you're not real big on diving into maybe interacting just yet, or Twitter, or some of those other, Facebook or Google Plus or that type of thing. It lets you to go in and you can follow blogs. So this is my blog roll. You'll see it's quite lengthy. I've got it divided up by blogs I follow, educational blogs, photography, things that I'm interested in. So I've kind of got it organized. I can also go in and search by hashtags. So I'm going to search out the hashtag EdTech, and anytime EdTech has been used in a blog post or a resource out there, I'm able to go and browse the different blogs. If I don't subscribe to them, they do have suggested resources that you could follow, so you can see it also gives related topics, education and learning. If I type in Eamons, I can find our Eamons blog, which is already added to my blog roll, or I could add it to my reading list. I can kind of mark blogs that I've read, posts that I've read, just all kinds of different things. If I click on the post, I can email it or share it on Twitter. I can share it on Facebook. I can add it to Evernote so I can look at it later. So you do have that ability to make your resources that you're pulling in using Feedly to kind of send it out there to your network and share those rich resources that way. Or you could keep it obviously for yourself to view. But the best way you can grow a personal learning network is to share out with others and be a rich resources to like-minded individuals that are interested in the same things you are and the same passionate about them. So I'm going to go ahead and stop screen sharing. Hopefully it worked. I couldn't tell. So please, Jen, tell me if it didn't work.
It did work, and I saw now that in order for me to see what you were screen sharing, I had to select your icon down across the bottom, the lower third.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever I selected that, I was able to see what you were screen sharing.
So you have to click on the icon, that person who's screen sharing then.
Yes. So
Okay.
I'm wondering now if in the future, whenever we are showing the presentation, if we need to have someone screen sharing the presentation. So I also wanted to thank everyone again for being so patient with us today with our first ever webinar. We're still trying to get some of these kinks worked out. So if there's anything that you noticed, things that you're seeing that you would like done differently for the future, please don't hesitate to put things in the chat window or send us a message somehow, an email. Get a hold of us and let us know so that we can make those adjustments, because we're not able to see some of the things that you guys are seeing since we're the presenters. So we're still then on page 8 of the presentations, and I am going to talk to you a little bit about Digo. And Digo is like my very best friend in the whole wide world. I use Digo frequently, and so I'm going to screen share and show you guys what Digo looks like whenever I view it. So I'm sharing my screen. If you would like to follow along with me, if you can select my icon down in the bottom right. There we go. Hopefully you guys can see that now. So Digo, I have on my bookmarks bar. In Chrome, you can get it as an extension. You can keep it as a bookmark. They have apps on the app stores, Android and Google Play. So there's lots of different ways that you can use Digo. It is basically a social bookmarking site, but it allows you to highlight and annotate documents, web pages, PDFs. You can do all of those kinds of things. There are networks that you can follow in Digo where you can connect with like-minded folks. You can create groups and have communities within Digo. It is free, and there is an educator version that allows you to do more with your students and creating links, groups of links for your students to be able to access for different projects. I really like it. As you can see on this first page, this is my library. My library is just digo.com/user, then /JRE54D there at the very top. So anybody can follow that. I can keep certain bookmarks private if there are certain things that I want to keep private. I've been using this for several years now, and you can see that there's 2,636 items total that I have included. It tells me 8 of them I haven't even read yet, so I've evidently found some things that I said I would read later, and I still haven't done it. One great thing that I really like about it is this site allows you to bookmark or to tag, to tag your bookmarks. So if you look here, I've got this HTML colors. This is the link, but I've got it tagged with web design, color, hex, and RGB. So whenever I am searching for a hex tag, hex code, I can search for that, and it will pull this up because of the tag that I've got it tagged with. You can always go in and edit it and trash it, or you can send that link out to others. And one of the cool things that I like is when I open up a Google search in Chrome and I do start my search, it tells me over here that in my Digo library there's one item found. So whenever I click on that, it will actually pull open, there's the hex color, HTML hex color link that I had saved in my library. So it pulls open my library after it does the search through that. And it's just listed right here, right on my search page. So I think that is definitely very cool. And then I am able to share this out. I've created several different groups or lists. I've got all these different lists. A lot of them are private. Some of these are public so that I can share those with others. It makes it really nice to have a collection of excellent resources that can quickly and easily be shared with other educators. All right. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And does anyone have any questions about so far the TweetDeck, Feedly, or Digo? Okay. So I'm not seeing any questions. So Amy has got another exciting tool to share with YouTube.
Okay. I think yeah, okay. All right, so thinking about YouTube, we're all pretty familiar with it, obviously. It can be a great tool for more than just watching videos. Obviously, it is a video tool, but it can be part of your personal learning network in the sense that you can log in with your Google account, and you can kind of begin to start creating your own personal learning land. My best suggestion is that when you find videos that you like, so if I go to this Discovery Education link here, you can see that you can subscribe to their videos. So you can, if you find someone who's like-minded and passionate and shares interests, the same thing that's connects with your goal, you can click to subscribe to it. Once you've subscribed to it and you're logged into your Google, over here on the left-hand side, you can see where you can see your subscriptions. I've got some of them organized by groups. I've got educational playlists. Some of my favorite educators are grouped. But if I click on the red word for subscriptions, I can go in and manage all of my subscriptions at any time. I can, sorry, clicked on the wrong thing. At any time, I can select. If I'm getting something and I want an update on it, I can, go into Manage Subscriptions, put a check mark by it, and it'll send me anytime Bill Bass adds another wonderful video to his collection. It would send me an email. I can also get an activity feed, or I can find out only when they upload a new video. I can also choose to subscribe or unsubscribe to them. So being able to really pull in tools from YouTube that have information based on what you're looking for and what you're wanting to learn. And of course, once you're into the playlist, if you had a particular video that you liked, another way to continue to kind of grow that personal learning network is, to be able to add comments and to like it, much like you would send feedback to on Facebook. You can also add it to, you can create a playlist based on, so if this TED Talk, I could create a playlist for TED Talks. And now that I've created it, anytime I come to a video that I like, I could go add to, choose the playlist that I want, and then I've got a kind of an organized structure of that. So I'm going to do one more. Here's Cameron Russell's Everything You Believe In model. And I'm going to add this to my TED Talk playlist. And now if I go back, and I'm going to click on the little hamburger button or hot dog button, I've heard it called a couple different things. Now if I go down to the playlist area, I can see all the videos that I've tagged for TED Talks, or all the videos that I've tagged for videos that I liked, or videos that I've tagged for my personal learning network. And you can go in and uncheck them just the same as you set them up. So I had this Matthew O'Reilly. Maybe I watched that video and I wasn't getting as much from it as I thought I would. I could click on my Add To button, and I could easily uncheck it from my playlist. And I get a nice little reminder, hey, you're removing it from your playlist. So using YouTube, you can subscribe to videos as well as create your own personal playlists. Playlists can be shared out with students and friends. Much the same way you share out a video, you could share a whole list of your favorite resources with your personal learning network, or with your friends or colleagues or students, or whatever the case may be, but you're able to use that resource beyond just watching videos. If you have any questions, do put them into the chat and we'd be happy to answer them.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks, Amy.
So as we kind of wrap this part up, I think the things that we're just really wanting to help you with growing your personal learning network is that we've showed you 4 tools. Maybe none of those 4 tools fit your needs, or maybe one of them fit your needs. It ultimately comes down to choosing this tool that has the features that you want, is easy to use, and one good way to kind of choose a tool might be to ask your colleagues what they're using. If you start using a tool for your personal learning network that a colleague is using, and you run into a snag or you have a question, coming to them and being a resource to each other on how to use that tool is a great way to go. And if you start using a tool and you're like, this is not helping me, I'm not getting what I need, having the freedom or the knowledge to know what other resources are out there, so that you could just grab another one and take off and go from there, that you're not stagnant, you're still growing and evolving, and it's all centered around your needs.
All right. So we're moving on to slide 9 in the presentation, and we're sharing some resources that we have found that we follow, things that we just really, as professional educators, have enjoyed looking at and getting resources and have found interesting. It is another Padlet, and I have just placed the link down there in the chat. It has got tons of great resources. Some of the top resources that we found, and oftentimes they're cross-platform, meaning that, I'm just trying to come up with one here. Edutopia is on Google Plus, and Edutopia is on Twitter, and they've got amazing blogs and websites, and they're all over the place. So you don't necessarily have to be on one social media form in order to see many of these. So whenever you're viewing that Padlet, those are just some really great resources and some good places to start. I know that several of you had. Okay. Oh, Terry just said that she cannot see the post. So here is the Padlet link again. So that you can see some of those resources that we're sharing out. They're high-quality resources that I feel like you can gain a lot from these top resources. And if you have anything to add to that, please feel free to add to it so that we have an excellent collection represented there. And then if you have any comments or ideas about any of the ones that are shared on that list, please feel free. So as you're taking a look at that, I'm going to go ahead and move on to slide 10, which is the dive in. And whenever you're working on growing your PLN, there's some things for you to kind of think about, specifically who to follow. You can follow people, you can unfollow people, or friend them, or whatever the term is going to be for your selected form of social media. But part of it is actually searching out and finding the people that are going to benefit you the most. So that is a pretty important piece whenever you're developing your PLN. And if you find somebody that you're following is not meeting your needs, then unfollow them. You can also search by hashtags. Hashtags are a great way to find resources that are specifically focused on the topic that you're interested in. And as always, participate. And I know that that's not really something that we have to say to you guys that are here. You're here today. You're with us. That shows me that you're more than willing to participate. But as we're going back and we're working with the teachers in our districts and our buildings that we're working with, encouraging them to join in. And we've got a lot of lurkers around, and lurking is okay, but encouraging each other to take that next step and put yourself out there and participate, and that's really how you're going to grow your following. Creating your profile. On your profile, you need to make sure that it's got information about you as an educator, what your learning goals are, what your passions are. That way, when others check out your profile, they can see if you're somebody that has shared passions and interests. That way, they can make sure they're sharing with the like-minded people. And then also check your sharing and permission settings. On the next slide, slide 11, and we're going to kind of hurry through this since it's right now 2 o'clock. Amy, do you want to share a little bit about the educational hashtags there?
So if you're looking for conversations to get involved in, these 3 links give you some great, a great list of the top educational hashtags, the top conversations that are going on. You'll see educations like EdTech, EdChat, MoEdChat is another great one. New teachers, what is it? N2L, New Teachers Learning. Just lots of different chats out there. Chats for admin, chats for science, chats for social studies, chats for reading. I mean, the list goes on and on. So definitely take a look at these 3 links and find out what conversations are out there. And maybe there's some that are already started that that you're interested in. And by all means, start a topic. start a hashtag for your interests and see how quickly other people flock to you and locate you based on that hashtag and want to share in those conversations. Slide 12 are popular Twitter chats. There are chats that are constantly going on throughout the week. Some of them are during the workday, some of them are after or in the evenings, some of them are on Saturdays, some of them are Sunday nights. Just again, these are some great resources to kind of reach out and start building those conversations and making those connections with other people globally. And outside your normal realm. And again, a great way to share with your local connections as well. So those are just 5 really great sites to get you started. As we're thinking about social media, you know, I know we all are mindful of what social media etiquette is, and just kind of a few tips that I found that I really kind of wanted to share and pass on with you. So if I go to slide 14, it kind of gives you just, you know, the highlights of it. As you're interacting, you know, post frequency. We've all been a part of those that atmosphere where someone posts 15 to 20 times in a day, and some of them are worthwhile and some of them maybe seem overwhelming. So thinking about your post frequency, one blog that I read said you might even give your followers a heads up if you're at a conference. Hey, I'm going to be posting over the next 5 hours about resources that I found at this conference or this professional learning community, kind of giving your followers a heads up. A good rule of thumb when trying to post, they said for novice or beginners, they said 4 or 5 times a day. I know the teachers that I work with, I would probably encourage them 4 to 5 posts a month. And then, go ahead.
Good.
And then,
I think I lost it.
oh, hello.
Oh, we can hear you, Stephanie.
So,
I didn't think my microphone was on.
Yep, you're on.
Sorry, you're doing great. I'm just listening.
Oh, no worries.
Turn it off.
I think, you know, as you're kind of getting comfortable, maybe it's 4 to 5 a week or 4 to 5 a month. And the hint here is that you are sharing. And if it's once a month or once a week, you know, whatever it is for you, I think that's great. To grow your followers or to grow your network, they do recommend to post more frequently so that people know that you have something to contribute, and then they're going to want to start contributing with you as well. But again, that comes back to what is your comfort level. It's just finding that balance. For every link you share 2 or 3 that from someone else, you know, retweet it, repost it, sharing out. So not only just put your own content out there, but feel free to share stuff that you're learning from others too, because that's that friend of a friend thing. If I see that my friend got a great resource from another friend, I might start following that friend because they had ideas that lined with my goal, my focus. You know, again, sometimes people will judge you by who you're following and who your followers are, so kind of being mindful that some of the people that you're interacting, they do share your interests and the things that you're interested in. And if they don't, you know, it's okay to not necessarily want to follow that person. It's okay to unfollow and to follow people that align with your goals. Don't be shy. Get in there and share, interact with others. If you reach out to them, they're going to reach out to you. Using hashtags, you can use them humorously. You can use them for conversation starters. You know, but the good rule of thumb is to stick to 3 hashtags or less with a single post. If you just get 4 or 5 to 10 hashtags on there, it might become overwhelming. So they say 3 or less is a good rule of thumb. Sharing opinions, you know, there's area and just kind of thinking about if you're getting ready to contribute on a topic that's highly controversial, just being mindful of that this is global connections and it is going out beyond, beyond the people that you normally see on a daily basis. So just kind of keep some things in common, or keep some things in mind. They said to think about whether or not you have anything to add to the conversation. If you're qualified to have a strong comment on that, will your opinion make a difference? Do you already promote or protest on this verbally and in your social life, already? And are you willing to, accept any consequences that may come from that sharing, or that sharing of that opinion? And it just comes down to just getting out there and testing the waters and finding out what works for you. I think we're ready for Jen for habits of success.
All right, so on slides 15 and 16, the habits of success for being involved in a professional learning network, just making sure that you're developing those habits as a routine, that you have a commitment to whatever it is that you've selected to do. For myself, I'm working strongly in Google Plus right now, and so it is a routine or habit of mine that every day that I am in my office and that I am able to, I connect at least twice a day to my Google Plus community, checking my notifications. I'm trying to make sure that I'm adding something, that I'm favoriting, or I'm plus one-ing things that people are posting. I'm commenting when possible on the things that people are posting and the questions that are being asked. So I'm making that part of my routine. I'm also putting out there questions and sharing things that I find interesting, things that I come across or that are applicable to what is going on in my world at that time, and making those connections that way. Reaching out to others and asking, telling them thank you for sharing that, for sharing the same interest, that whenever somebody posts something that is very beneficial to me, telling them this is beneficial, thank you for sharing, and all those kinds of things, and just reaching out to others. And then also you can, October is the Connected Educator Month, so really being mindful of Connected Educator Month and bringing that to the forefront of the minds of the teachers that we are working with in all of our programs, getting them to the connectededucator.org website, getting contact information out there, sharing with each other, and getting to a point where we're not in our little egg crates at school, in our schools, where we're in our own rooms doing our own thing, but where we're sharing not just within our districts, but on a global level, so that we can make education a very powerful method of connecting everyone around the world. All right, so on slide 17,
My turn. So when we're thinking about growing our personal learning network, it takes action. So you've got to be ready today to take action and move forward and decide what steps you need to take to plus size your PLN. What action are you going to take? So that's our action step. But here's something to think about in your drive home today, or as you're just having some quiet time to yourself, is what do you want to stay mindful of as you move forward? As you move forward in growing this personal network and becoming a vital part to the educational community, what do you want to stay mindful of? So take action and reflect.
and finally, thank you. Thank you, everyone, for coming with us, being here today, for joining us on this conversation about developing your PLN. We really appreciate your participation. We very much appreciate your patience as we're learning how to use this new tool to benefit all of us. We definitely welcome any comments, suggestions, anything that you guys might have to help us improve this process. Like I said, this was our first webinar to conduct. It was the first time to use a Hangout on air. So There was a lot of firsts. We learned a lot, I think, so far on how to moderate and how to present with this. And I really thank you guys for being patient with that process. Um, Also, I want you to kind of be mindful and stay tuned. In the future, we are planning on, we're right now planning for having monthly webinars sponsored by the eMINS educator community. So we would be more than happy to see you guys come back, suggest topics, whatever it is that you think would be most beneficial. We would love to hear from you. So please feel free to share ideas, comments, anything that you have, and we hope that we see you back here next time.
Yes, thank you and have a wonderful afternoon.
All right.